I don't. No, I don't think they can hear you on the stream. No, we cannot hear you. They hear me though.
Can y'all hear me now? Hello, mic check. Mic check.
Yeah. Now it works.
Sorry, guys. You know, our situation, we was definitely away for a while. And my PC hard drive crashed. And I lost everything, all the files from my stuff. And I had to redo everything. So basically, I didn't really have time to test the stream out. Just like I always say, you know, you gotta retest your game. Even the chat link isn't working. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Don't know what's going on, but oh, you know what? I know the issue. Let me take a moment to fix it real quick. Then I guess we could start chatting. Alright. At the goal. Alright, give me like 1 moment. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Do not unfollow. Do not unsubscribe. Do not do anything.
Man, this guy, man, tells the people to play test their games, but does not stream test.
I know, man. I'm being
man.
so hypocritical right now. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. It's a little problem that I have where, you know, I occupy myself with so much stuff that, you know, I just get sidetracked easily. Has that ever happened to any of you guys? Like, you just get sidetracked because you're so busy and you preoccupy, and it's like, you know, you just easily get distracted. That's me. That's my life.
Easily. I mean, that's a common thing with gamers. Like, so it's basically a meme at this point, right? Everybody getting sidetracked with side quests instead of doing the main story.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
All right, so here we are today, guys. Here we are. Sorry for the 3 weeks that we've been away, but once again, I want to congratulate Cychronic Games, the developer of Starship Rebellion, for the successful release on the Steam page. I wish you the best of luck. You know, a lot of us are aiming to, you know, reach that pinnacle that you are, you know, achieving. So best of luck. Hope you make lots of money and continue to make great games. All right, so before we get into, you know, the podcast game Starship Rebellion, Cychronic also, you know, along with DK, they're the only two when they won their game to be played on the Wheel of Doom on the first try, on the first day. So congratulations on that, for surviving on the first time, my guy. So you guys know who I am. My name is D7, and I got my hard working awesome developer, map maker. You know, check out Charles Cascadia. You definitely will see a lot of his work in that game. Simple Gaming, the resident German, SG Harlequin.
Yo, what's up, guys? We're back.
Yes, we're back. So just like every podcast, you know, we talk about the game. We're going to give our opinion about what we think about the game, and maybe, you know, give the developer some tips and tricks or some pointers on how to potentially make their game better than what it is, because we're the RTP crew. You know, we make games 1,000 times better than what the developer think there actually is. All right, so Starship Rebellion. A quick synopsis about this game. As you can see, if you are viewing on YouTube, the game, I'm gonna read it real quick. So to give y'all an idea about Starship Rebellion and the history of it. Starship Rebellion is Infamous Prime is mining colony in the Outer Rim under brutal occupation. With the help of a hacked android and the discovery of a dark secret, the rebels finally have a chance. This is the story how the Outer Rim coalition formed and how they broke free. So what the developer has done, if you are familiar with Cychronic or Cychronic Games or just the Starship franchise, Starship is pretty much a world. Well, it's a main game that is separated in two different code games. You know, you got Starship Legacy. Is it still called Legacy? Starship Legacy. Then you got Starship Origins, which covers the ESA side. Then you got Starship Rebellion. This installment, which is the third installment, covers the Outer Rim Coalition side, which is short for ORC. ORC. The unique thing about this game is the developer designed it in a way where you could play either game in any order without missing key points to the main story. So, or Legacy is still in development. That's the big game. But the side stories, Origins and Rebellion, you could play either of those games in any order. So you could either play it Rebellion, Origins, then the main game when it's complete, without missing a beat. So basically, they're introductions to the factions before the main events of Starship Legacy. So we're not going to talk about Origins. We're not going to talk about Legacy. We're talking about Rebellion because that's what we are presenting to you guys today. This is a freshly released game. Actually came out 5 days ago. It came out 5 days ago. So we're going to talk about gameplay, of course. The story. We're going to try to sum up the story, try to figure, what the heck is going on, and just overall the design of the game into one total package, which is our gameplay. So since I'm familiar with the franchise, because I was able to play all three, I can start it off. Because I believe Harlequin started the last podcast off. So, in all fairness, and D7 is a fair guy. I'm the most fairest that there is in the whole RPG Maker community. I'm going to start it off. Alright, so if you are a lover of Star Trek, Lost in Space, or any of the Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, or any type of sci-fi story, game, show, movie, I think Origins will give you that punch that you need to satisfy your sci-fi hunger.
You mean Rebellion?
Yeah, Rebellion. Oh my God, Rebellion. Starship Rebellion would satisfy your sci-fi hunger. The the game is really, really rich in lore. And when I'm talking about lore, you have different species, right? Well, so far in this one, you couldn't really expand on the species, but there are different species like Terran, they're robots, they're two-headed creatures, serpent reptiles, there's a dog race, there's a cat race, there's a lizard race, there's a android race. Anything that you could think about, weirdness, you know, sci-fi-ish, this game covers it. So what I understand about what's going on in this story is that the ORC, you're basically was in civilization that was basically enslaved by the other faction, the ESA, because throughout the game you are calling them pigs. You know, the ORC call the ESA pigs. It takes a while to realize who they're talking to, because you know you're under captivity and under distress, you know, from a different organization that's just treating you bad, being cruel to you, using you, usurping you, and doing all types of mean stuff to your people. So long story short, you know, you get tired of it. You get tired of being pushed around. So, you know, a small group of organizers band together and fight and fought back. So the way that the developer has this game structure is you are introduced to those main characters early on when the game starts, but you don't know nothing about them. You don't know anything. So basically you just you know, want to get your get back against the other coalition, but suddenly something happened that you or nobody else really has no control. The ESA is after something bigger than anything that you could imagine, because you're in hiding. They're thinking that you don't have any fight or anything because you're living in a town that is basically camouflage, sealed from, you know, their radar, so they cannot track who you are. You know, they can't find your whereabouts, put it like that. So what has happened, you wanted to exact revenge and get back at the ESA. You know, you become involved in something that they are trying to get their hands on, which is called the inhibitor. The inhibitor, which is basically a device that can cause mass destruction. But there's a key to everything that they need, because whatever they have is useless, because the key is lying with the ORC, and it comes in the form of an android. The android seems to have the mind of a, what is it, what are they called, Melothian? No, not Melothian. It's an ancient civilization race where they have control of this particular device, and you need this particular device in order for them to go out with their plan. Malarian, that's it, the Malarian. They need the Malarian mind in order to power this inhibitor. So it's a lot that I don't want to give too much of the game, but I could tell you this. It's a lot of goodies. If you are story driven and you feel like, you know, you want to play a good story with great plot and great climaxes, you definitely need to try this game out if you are that deep into the lore. But I mean, there's a lot more like I could talk about, but I feel like I don't want to spoil it for you guys.
You're not supposed to like tell us about every single event.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't. So I mean, would you like to take it from me, man? Because I could keep going.
I can do that.
I could keep going and going, man. I keep going and going.
I keep it short. Like I personally have no experience with like the Starshift universe, so this was like my first dive into it. And I think story is definitely like one of the selling points of the game. And I had no trouble with the introduction. Like it was clear from the moment I started that my characters are affiliated with some kind of rebellion, some form of resistance, and there's this big, all-controlling, all-powerful empire-like opposing faction, and that was clear from the beginning. So the introduction was alright. I started out with these 3 characters, which I found okay. Like that's a good amount to get like into the game and the mechanics and how everything works. And the story seemed fine to me. Like it's a clear storytelling. Like I really enjoyed the cutscenes. Like everything has a cutscene, like a small little scene set up whenever something happens. That's really good. Yeah, and then as you said, you find this android, you find these ruins, and that's where things start to get serious. Yeah, the storytelling so far from what I've experienced was pretty good. I think it's the main selling point of the game as well. It felt good to play the story. Like it felt solid. Like there was, you know, thought put into the universe we're playing in. Everything seemed established. Like it's not like it didn't feel like patched together or anything. Like so with some games you can see like this was just added later maybe, or this doesn't make any sense or whatever. I didn't get the feeling in this game. Like this game, from a lore or world building perspective, felt really solid to me. It was a bit hard. Like there's a bunch of terms being thrown around all the time. Like you said, the ESA and that other faction with the org short thingy, and then there's the rebellion, and there's a whole bunch of names.
Yeah.
And that's not so great. Like I just started the game. I just got here. These names don't tell me anything. I have no affiliation to any of these things. I just know I'm in the rebellion, I'm in the resistance, and there's this other group, right? But there's so many names thrown around that none stick, right? Because you can't affiliate anything with them. So you just read the names, but they don't stick. That's a little bit of a drawback, I guess.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you because the terms are very vast. It's like
I mean, there's just so many. Like there's ESA is a short term, then there's this org short term which stands for something else. Then there's this rebellion faction, like, and everything has a name, but you hear so many of them at once that you don't really know who's what now. That was my problem. It's like remembering what name and what faction is this now and what is that now. Like there's just too much for a game start.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair because, you know, in all fairness, I played the other game, so I'm familiar with, you know, the different sides and factions and stuff. But at the same time, it feels like me personally, me playing it, is written so good that either side has good intentions, but they both see each other as enemies and they both see each other as heroes, right?
Yeah, it's politics there.
So that's what's good about it. Like some games, you know who's clearly evil and you know who's clearly not evil. You know, like Skeletor and He-Man. He-Man is the good guy.
Like fantasy genre has that most of the time.
But in this game, you kind of on both sides. You know what I mean? You feel like this and that. But I do agree with you. Like, you really have no idea what is going on because these terms, there's really no introduction to these people for the first time for the player to actually know who they are in the cause. So I definitely agree with that. Like
yeah, I mean the only thing that stuck to me was like, okay, I'm the rebellion, and this other faction is the ESA.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that stuck. Like I don't remember what this orc thing is. I just remember the orc. I remember that, but I don't know what it means. I don't remember that. So only one thing stuck to me is like I'm rebellion and ESA is the enemy, like the big empire faction. That's all I remember. And I just played the game, so that's not really a good thing.
The orc is Outer Rim Coalition. Basically,
so is that another faction?
You're the orc. You're the ORC. Basically, what this?
Oh, the ORC is the rebellion part. Then. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, the rebellion people, the Outer Rim Coalition, you're basically living in the mining on a mining planet. So basically, where we live is like where it's a lot of junk there. It's mining. It's kind of like.
Oh, yeah, I got that part. I mean, we're the underdog, so we're living in a scrap city and whatnot. Yeah, I got that part.
Yeah.
I just didn't make that correlation between orc and what faction I'm actually in now. Like,
yeah, we're pretty much the poor people in the universe that has really no, you know, we're pretty much disbanded. So now we're like rebellion. We're rebellious because we're fighting to be free once again. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to be freed, but since we're under control of the ESA and we're hiding from them. That's if you notice in the beginning, like when you leave the town, it kind of become ruins again, and when you come
they
back,
have this illusion thing going.
Yeah, it's a story behind that and who designed that in the game on why they did that, and all that was based on, you know, them trying to stay hidden and, you know, from the ESA. But
I mean, it's mentioned, like the cyborg mentions it, like, oh, this town's supposed to be destroyed, and the other character says, well, the pigs think it is, and then when you leave, you see this illusion thing going on. It was pretty neat, aside from it being a little bit jank in the execution, but that's a general thing with the game, I feel like.
What do you mean jank with the execution? Like, to elaborate?
It's kind of split in two ways. Like the game, on one hand, the game has a lot of attention to detail, and on the other hand, the execution is always a bit janky, right? When you leave with the bus, and the illusion pops up, the bus stops, and you gotta wait for a moment until the animation is done. Like it's not too jarring, but it's also kind of jank. Why do you stop me? Like, it's cool to watch that animation once and be like, oh wow, that's cool. So they do this illusion thing, but I entered this town like 3 times or 4 times, maybe more during the game, and every time I gotta stand there and watch that shit happen, right?
Yeah.
Just make it happen in a parallel or whatever. Why do you stop me? Right? And that's a general thing with the game. Everything is, there's a lot of detail in the story and the world building, but the presentation is just lacking. In general, like the animations, like especially the flags and everything else, like the flames and these big fumes from the buildings, they don't loop properly, so they always kind of snap back to frame 1, and it just doesn't look great, right? It's not too jarring for the gameplay, and it doesn't really appall you from playing it, but it kind of puts a dent into the quality of the game, in my opinion.
I know what you mean. You can actually see, like, on the last frame, you can actually see when it actually,
you see it jump back to the frame 1.
It jumps back, and it's not, some of it's not properly centered, like with the reactors, like for one scene.
Everything is like, there's a lot of cool stuff there. Like, it all looks sci-fi and cool and whatnot. But if you look a little bit closer, like, you see all the little janky things, like the animation not looping properly. This is off center. This is just a weird, whatever looking thing. The trees don't seem properly shaded in comparison to the rest of the map and the tile set. And it's like all these little things. For me, at least, like, I like a good presentation. So all these little things coming together, and the faces are the same thing, right? You have all these different art style faces, and it just looks a bit thrown together. And for me, it lowers the quality of the game.
Yeah, I kind of figured that too, like with the different faces and stuff.
Yeah, it's the faces, it's the tile set. There's like these AI generated looking trees that's not properly shaded. They look different from the shading. They have a shadow, but the tree itself looks weird. Like, the lighting on the tree is not right.
I didn't see any AI like assets.
I don't know the AI, but I mean the statues, I think, in the ruins are definitely AI, and I think those purple fuzzy trees are too. But it doesn't even really matter. All I'm saying is, like, the lighting on those things doesn't look right in comparison to everything else. So it's these visual inconsistencies everywhere that kind of drag down the game's value for me. Like, you have a lot of theoretical detail in there, in the story, in the world building, in the lore, but the game doesn't look great. It kind of looks a bit weird. Like, everything is kind of jank. And for me, it's a big thing because I like good looking games.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot of small things, and they're definitely fixable, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, visually the game looks like it is very attention to detail. I do see what you mean, like, especially like with some of the the animation, the loops and stuff like that, and the freezes here and there and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the
different
enemies.
faces, like, you got some VX Ace characters and you got some MV characters.
Yeah.
And different. I can understand, but at the same time, what are the different races, and their face look different based on their races.
Yeah, but they can look different in the same art style too. Like, it looks weird when you have like an VXA's face head, and next to it is like this AI generated pee frog face. Like, it just looks weird. It is what it is. Like, yeah, as Bruce said, cohesion is key, especially for me. Like, it has to look cohesive. Like, there's a lot of cool shit in there. You got all these spaceships and all these weird looking buildings and whatnot, but they don't quite fit.
But it's space, though. It's a different civilization than what we're used to. You know, it's sci-fi. It has to look weird. It
I
has
mean,
to
it
look.
can look weird, but the style has to be consistent. That's what I mean. Like, if you look at the tree in front of your house and you come to my place, the tree still looks like a tree, right? It still looks like a realistic tree and doesn't look like a comic tree all of a sudden just because you're in a different place. Right? The art style is not consistent. Like everything looks cool on its own in a vacuum, but to put together, everything kind of looks like not quite right. I mean, I don't know how to fix it since everything is kind of, as Psychonic said, Photoshop chop shop. I don't know how you could fix it, but yeah, that it's a problem for me because the longer I play, the more things I notice. Like this doesn't look quite right, and that doesn't look quite right. And you can see it on every screen in the footage too. Like you got the tiles that have their art style from the tile set, and then you got the rubble that's laying around looks completely different from the rest of the tile set art. So it looks kind of out of place.
I see yeah.
Right, and it doesn't have a shadow either, so it's just kind of floating there. I don't know, man. To me, just everything looks like not quite right. But yeah, that's just me. Some other people might not care. They're just purely into the story or whatever. They might not care. I do, so I pointed it out.
How would you fix it?
I mean, the proper way to fix it would probably be either learn how to art or hire an artist, I guess.
So
or stick to the assets you can
we're
get
talking about
buy.
We're talking about these piles of rubble that's around here.
Yeah, that's just an example. Like the rubble piles for me they look out of place because they don't quite match the art style of the tile set.
Yeah.
And they're not lighted properly, not shaded properly, right? They don't really have much of a shading in there. But you have a light source there, right? So, I don't know. In RPG Maker, the light always comes from the top left most of the time. That's why the shadows are always on the right side, but those rubble piles have no shadow at all. So it looks weird, right? They're not lighted. They're not shaded properly.
So let's just say RPG Maker is the limitation of what
not at all
that he can do, like the animation loop and the stuttering and stuff.
Not
like
at
that.
all. I had no stutters in the gameplay itself. There is some flickers in there. For example, when you go into the difficulty settings, you can see the stuff flicker when you select it for the first time.
Yeah.
That's because there's no preloader being used. So the engine has to load the graphics. And if he had a preloader, that all could be gone. But generally, performance seemed fine. Like I had no frame drops or whatever. I had no really stutters or anything. And these animations and whatnot, they can be fixed. It's not like RPG Maker is a limiting factor here. So yeah, but as I said, like that's just me. Like other people might not care as much. I like pretty packages. What can I say?
I mean, that's especially this being a commercial game, and right now is $5.99, but the asking price is $7.99. You know, some people do want the whole total package, which I do understand. You know,
yeah. And I don't think it's like too expensive for how it looks. I think it's fine. Like even if you go for like $10 or so, should be fine. I think.
But the way the world is right now, you know, $1 is a lot of money.
Yeah. I was totally saying like I wouldn't buy Starshift just based on the looks. I just wouldn't buy it, no matter the price, just because I don't like the looks of it and the inconsistency of the art. So I just wouldn't buy it because there's 2 million other games I could buy instead. That's just how the market is.
If you look at the screenshots, I can see what you mean on the screenshots, but the trailer looks pretty good. Like, I think the trailer looks pretty good, and
Yeah, I mean the cinematics or cutscenes or whatever in the trailer, that's fine. It's just the looks of the game itself, the tile set and the self-created assets, they just don't quite match. So if I would see this in the store page and I'm looking for a game, then I'm like, I mean, it's $10, but I don't know, man. The characters are kind of pixel arty, and then you got all these weird kind of buildings that don't quite fit. I don't know. Probably not. Probably buy another game.
You probably pass this up, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a sci-fi fan anyway, but if I would look at the store page and see all these little inconsistencies and be like, I don't know. Do I really want to spend $10 on it, or I don't know, man. Maybe if I really liked sci-fi, then I would buy it. But chances are, since there are so many games out there, like the market is totally oversaturated, right? I would probably click off the page then, just because there's a million other choices.
I mean, it's understandable, my guy. I mean, you're the customer. You know, some customers, some customer have a standard of the stuff that they like, so it's understandable.
Yeah, it's as Bruce says, and I always say too. Like, first bite is with the eyes. Like, that's how it is. Like, if you go to the Steam store and you're looking for a sci-fi game, and you see the Starshift key art and it looks good, so you click on the page. And then you look at the screenshots and see the trailer, and you see all these little nitpicks you can have. Like the thing is, when you click on a store page on Steam, right? You're already on the developer side. You want the game, yeah, right? That's why you clicked on the page. You're interested in the game, and you're browsing the store page to find an excuse to not buy the game. That's what you do. You check the screenshots. You check the trailer for anything that tells you do not buy this game, and that's why you read the reviews, right? And see what's wrong with the game. What does the negative review say? What's broken? Is it unplayable? Whatnot? You're looking for an excuse to not buy the game. So if the game looks weird in the screenshots or in the trailer and the art style is not cohesive, that's an excuse to not buy the game. And that's how it works.
And you're right. You know, we do that without even.
Yeah, that's just how it is. Like, when you click on the store page, that already means you're interested, right? The key art looked nice. You have nice looking characters and a nice looking title on there and whatnot. So you click on the store page, you want this game, and now you're looking for an excuse to not buy it.
Reviews,
that's how it works.
The looks. Yep, I agree. Yep. I agree.
That's how it most of the time works.
All right, so summing it up, you think the story's pretty deep, but at the same time, you got so many terms and definitions that you're not even introduced to these terms, and you have no idea what's going on right now, unless you previously.
I didn't feel it too jarring at that moment, though. Like, there's a lot of terms, but I was under the assumption maybe if I just kept playing, it would be more clear, right? Maybe it's just confusing in the beginning, but that's what a lot of, especially RPG Maker games, do wrong, right? They have these long explanations, and there's a whole lot of names thrown about, and all you read as a player is like the Kingdom of Blah, and I don't even know how the text goes anymore. Every name the player has no association to is basically blah. So the King of Blah and the Hero of Blah, and nobody knows on the island of blah blah blah. You know, it doesn't stick because you have no relation to that name. You don't know what it means. So when you start Rebellion, you only get two things. Like, you know, you're the Rebellion part, and you have this evil empire. These two terms stick with you, and the rest is just blah. But I was assuming I wouldn't learn about all that stuff later on because I just started the game, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
At least the game doesn't start with a black screen and a whole bunch of text. Right?
Yeah.
So at least I got into the gameplay quick, so I didn't mind the name mumbo jumbo too much.
So let's try to get into some of the gameplay. Starting off, you are introduced into, the meats and potatoes. You are introduced to a strategic battle.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, after the main cutscene, when you have to create your, pick your platoon, it's 3 of them. You're controlling, 3 different ships, tanks. You got to place them 3. And I noticed with this RPG game, there's those tutorials. So, I felt, me personally, I felt like, oh man, I like it that we get into the meats and potatoes early without having to read a lot of lore. But I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at the screen, and for like 10 seconds, probably 5 to 10 seconds, I realized, oh, I gotta pick my platoon, and I'm learning the strategy, movements and mechanics as I go. Mm-hmm. But since I have Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Battle, experience, I already knew what to expect, except the extra movement after you attack. Like, some things is not explained that I feel like it should be explained for new characters. For new players. For new players.
It depends. I had no problem with like with the battle with the RTS style, not RTS, with the strategic style.
Mm-hmm.
I did look at the screen for a moment because I wasn't sure what I had to do, but I thought like, okay, this is like the unit placement thing. The only nitpick I have with that is we only have 3 spots to place our units. And
we already talked about this before. I already know what you're gonna say.
What?
I already know what you're gonna say.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Go ahead. I'm like, I told you so. What?
Yeah. So we only have 3 designated spots for 3 identical units, right? At that point. So why is this even there? Just place the units. It doesn't matter. They're identical units.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They all have the same health. They all have the same skills. Why do I have to manually place them in that scenario? Like, I have no choice. Either give me more spots to put my shit on, or just place them there already. Like, there's no need for that menu in the first place.
That makes sense. I agree. I
didn't need a tutorial for that fight, really. I don't know how it would be if I never played a strategic game before. I'm not quite sure. But it was simple enough. Like, you don't need to tutorialize everything. Like, it's okay to let the player just click on buttons for a moment and learn it himself. That's okay. That's fine. Like, if it's not too complicated, it's okay. Like, if you have a deep system, though, like a really big skill tree or whatever, that needs explanation, that's a different thing. But like, having the player figure out how to place a unit on his own, not too bad. I think everyone can figure that out.
I feel like the option should be there.
Yes or no? The only thing I could think of is like, you could, when the battle screen starts and you're supposed to place your units, you could just show a picture pop up like, place your units, and then have it fade away, and that's good enough. Right? What other explanation do you need?
If you never played a strategic RPG before, because this game could introduce new players who like sci-fi, who may not like RPG, who may never play the RPG.
Yeah, but there's not really anything.
It's not hard to make a different. Would you like this? Would you like to view the tutorials? Yes or no? Not hard to do that.
That's like the worst option you can do.
What do
like,
you mean?
In all honesty, that's
Triple A games do it. When I
Yeah, and
played
when did the last good AAA game come out? Like 20 years ago.
When I played Resident Evil, the remake, I know how to play it, but it's telling me, oh, you can merge these, you can merge this, you can combine this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
why
in
can't
reality, though,
why can't the player figure out how to do on their own?
Yeah, but in reality, though, like let's imagine Psychronic had a "Do you want to watch the tutorial?" You're never gonna click no unless you already played this game, because you don't know if they have like a special mechanic that doesn't that no other game has. You don't know that, so click yes, and then you gotta watch like 30 minutes of tutorial messages for shit you already know.
He could keep it simple with the pictures, like you said. It could be a brief explanation of, you know, you could attack, or you could use skills based on the different. What do you mean, nah? Like
I don't think it's necessary.
You don't think a strategy RPG don't need a tutorial if you're new at this stuff?
No, I don't think so. Like the thing is, the first battle you do is really simple, right? You got one screen to place your unit, so the only thing you could potentially add there is like a short text saying place your unit, so the player knows what the fuck is even going on, right? And then there's nothing you can break in that moment. You can just select the unit and place it, so you, even if you just randomly click buttons, like, okay, let's try the action button. All right, okay, I can place this now. The player already figured it out with the push of one button. You don't need a tutorial text for that. Yeah, like, just let him play around with it. That's fine.
Okay.
Like you don't need an explanation for the skills in that battle either, because you can just click on special and then you see, all right, this is power, all right, power, blue bar says power, all right, that's my MP, cool.
So how come,
and then this needs charge and whatnot? It's obvious. You just need to look at it.
How come developers of standard RPG Maker games give us tutorial for games that just you can only attack in the beginning?
Yeah, because you keep telling them, give the player a choice, yes or no, watch the tutorial. That's why.
I never give them that.
Man, because people think like that. But I mean, you can do it, of course. If you really want to do it, you can go and be like, do you want to watch the tutorial? But tutorials are boring.
But it's a choice. Some people feel like, you know, they'll like to know more information about the game. I feel like that battle system, you know, it's simple to us. You know what I mean? It didn't take me long to you know, to figure out what the heck I'm doing, you know. But I'm used to playing games like that.
But I don't. Like, the only strategic game I played was like, what's that? Fire Emblem, and that's pretty much it.
I'm pretty sure that has a tutorial, does it?
I don't know. If it has, I skipped it. I don't fucking know.
You can't skip Nintendo tutorials. I know that's.
I mean, I can just press the action button and skip the dialogue. Like, I didn't read it because it's not necessary. Like, it's necessary whenever there's something more deep than just press the attack button. Like in the first battle, if you press attack, you get these red squares, right? So the player should probably be able to figure out, all right, that's my attack range. Like, you don't need a tutorial for that. You can figure that out with 2 brain cells, right? So why add a text there and slow the player down? Just let him play around with it. Like, you can't really do anything wrong in that first battle, right?
But
there's no strategic choice.
It's not wrong if the player wants to see it versus, oh, I don't want to see this. That's why they have that choice.
Nah, I don't know, man. As soon as I read tutorial, I'm already bummed out. I don't want to see no tutorial.
But you have a choice to see it or don't see it. That's what I'm saying. He could give the player an option if they want to see it or not. Huh?
But it's not a real choice.
What do you mean?
The thing is, if you get the choice, do you want to watch the tutorial? What do you do? Like, you do it every fucking stream. If there's an RPG Maker game with a tutorial choice, you always watch it.
I look at it.
But you know there's nothing new there. You already know it. It's gonna be the same shit every game. is always going to be push the attack button. Every fucking game.
Push the
and you still look at it because there could be a chance of there being a mechanic you don't know.
Exactly.
So is it really a choice?
Yes.
No, because nobody gonna click no ever. Unless they already played the game. So it's not really a choice. Every new player is always gonna click yes and then be bored out their mind because they read pages of tutorial. For things they could have figured out on their own, like push the attack button. You don't need a tutorial for that. You see the red squares, just move your unit into the enemy and press attack. That's like 2 seconds.
We're living in the digital age. We didn't have tutorials back then.
We just figured it out.
No, we had the manuals.
Nah, I didn't have manuals.
Manuals were your tutorial of how to play the game. It had all the states. It had all what the items can do. You know, what potions do. Everything was basically in the manual. Now we don't have manuals anymore. You know, a lot of games have in-game tutorials. Right. And most games, I say about 90% of those, gives the player a choice to view the tutorials or not.
Yep.
You know, so I feel like it won't hurt the developer to kind of wean in newer players who don't know this type of battle system, but may need a simple explanation on what to do. They may not know what to do. That's what I'm saying. Not everybody is on the same level.
That's totally fine, but you can do it non-intrusively. Like if you make it a choice with a fucking choice box, that's not good. Like look at let's say Dark Souls. Look at the Dark Souls tutorial. They have one, but it doesn't stop you. You just get a pop-up that doesn't stop your game. It doesn't stop your character. You can click the button to read the message box if you want. There's no choice box you have to confirm. If you don't want to read it, just move on. It's not intrusive. If you put a choice box in front of the battle or inside the battle, it stops the game. Right? And as I said, no new player is ever gonna click no anyway. So it's not really a choice.
Thank you, I Am Brew. I Am Brew know what he's talking about.
Yeah, if you make the tutorial fun, which is not a dialogue box, then you can do a tutorial.
Yeah, he can do that. Like the first battle could be like a evented battle to get the player, introduced to the game for the first probably like 4 turns or 3 turns.
I wouldn't even put a choice box there. Like if you wanted to tutorialize this first battle, I would have made it a cutscene.
Yeah,
like show the menu and basically auto click the buttons for the player. Like this is where you place your units, and then the cursor moves automatically, right? So the player just needs to watch. We don't want to read no text. Nobody wants that. So you make it a cutscene, right? You move the units for the player and have a little like, this is how you attack, this is how you move, like a tiny little text that's just like one line, and then just have it happen on the screen. That works too. Like it's better to like watch it than have a dialogue box pop up every time. And this is how you attack and this is how you move, because nobody want to read dialogue boxes in a tutorial. That's boring. And that's boring in every game review. You can see that in every AAA game where the people go like, oh my god, look at this fucking tutorial, giving me a full screen worth of text for shit I don't need to know yet because it's not relevant right now. You hear that every time. For every AAA game, whenever they do it.
And who said that?
Man, I watched plenty of videos. Like one was it Deus Ex or whatever? Okay. I don't remember the game.
Deus Ex, the Revolution.
There's plenty of games where you run around and then you're in this tutorial zone with like weak ass level 1 enemies, right? and then you move around, and then there's this big ass text pop up that stops the game, and you gotta read it now, and then you click OK, and you forgot everything because you move 2 feet, and now the next pop up goes, and you read again, and you stop playing again, and that's not good. Right? Teach the player one step at a time and make it relevant. Like, only, I don't need to know about, like, let's say, limit break attacks when I can't even use them yet, right? So why would you put the tutorial there and stuff like that?
You put the tutorial when it's necessary.
Exactly, but many games, even AAA games, don't do that. They just start the game, they give you a whole bunch of fucking text, teaching you everything at once, when it's not even relevant yet. There's a whole bunch of games that do that, even AAA games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but just because the big guys do it doesn't mean it's a good thing.
I agree.
So yeah, as I said, I don't think the first battle needed a tutorial. I thought it was fine. Like, there is not really anything you can do wrong there. It's just move and attack. Like,
I disagree.
There was no strategy being used there.
Because, let me tell you why. There's friendly fire, too.
Yeah, but you could see that.
Most games, you can't hit your own unit, but this game, you can.
Yeah, I noticed that.
You know
what I'm
saying?
Without a tutorial, what do you look at that?
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you need a tutorial.
You figured it out too. Like,
yeah, I knew that.
See,
I'm like,
when you select the skill and you target your own unit, it's red. You can see it being hit by that if you accept it. There was no need for a tutorial for that. I already saw it. Like, I selected the skill and was like, oh man, wait a minute, my unit is red too. That means it's targeted as well. Better not do that.
You ain't.
Why tutorial?
Cat, I call cat on that.
Man, that's literally what happened, man.
I call cat.
I was trying to use that laser attack, right? And I had the unit. My unit was inside that red area, and it lit up red too. And I was like, oh wait, hold on.
You could be saying anything right now, and I'm gonna say yeah, whatever.
It's true though. It's true though, man. And
oh no, man.
The regular battles too, like when you are in hand-to-hand combat, like the regular turn-based. I don't think I needed a tutorial for that either. I don't know, man. The things I needed a tutorial for were the skill trees and the equipment, because there's a lot of shit in there. There's like a whole bunch of different skill trees, and the equipment has a bunch of stuff too. But there was no tutorial for that, and I was looking at the skill tree and was like, oh my god. So many different skill trees, and I didn't know if each character, because they have classes, right? The one guy is like a researcher and whatnot, so I wasn't sure. Since the dude is a researcher, do I go into the tech tree, into the research tree? Does he have like some kind of affinity to that? Is that more effective if I do that, or do I just do everything with the damage tree and everything learns that fucking fire laser or whatnot? Like I don't know. See,
that's why I feel like where the game kind of took. I didn't really like, because it's so. I mean, the skill tree is. I like skill trees. You know what I mean? I like being able to learn certain stuff. With my characters, but at the same time, all right. Everybody has the same skill tree besides their race and their class abilities.
Yeah, and that one robot had like only a system and a subsystem that only had 3 skill trees.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But once you could make everybody, like offensive, even in the offensive, they could learn the same abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's what I meant with like the tutorialization, right? The skill trees. There's so many skill trees at once, and they're all unlocked at once for all the like 6 or 7 characters you have right at the get-go from the game. So that's not introduced properly. If you want to introduce skill trees, it's like unlock them one by one, or just unlock them for one character at once, so I can take a look at it and I'm not immediately overwhelmed by having 8 characters with each 8 skill trees. Like, it doesn't even matter if they're the same or not. It's just overwhelming. I looked at this shit and I just immediately stopped the game because, like, I was like, nope. I'm out of there because that's too much shit to look at. Like, I'm not gonna go and spend like an hour reading every skill I can learn for 8 different characters.
I agree.
Like that's not gonna happen, right? So I just stopped the game.
I agree. Like it could definitely get very overwhelming when you're especially, you know, you only got so many knowledge points to spend. So you're gonna spend
the first time I looked at the skill tree, I already had like 6,000 points with every character, and I was like, oh my god, where do I put all this, and what is all this, and what the fuck is happening? Like, Path of Exile has the same problem, right? The player starts the game and opens the skill tree after his first level up and is presented with this massive ass tree, and that's where they stop the game. Because it's just too overwhelming. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do with that. You just got a whole bunch of notes everywhere. It's the same thing here.
In the words of the great Drifty said in one of his streams, the developer should try to keep the player out the menu as much as he can and focus on the game.
Yep.
I agree with that.
I think so too. Yep.
So with the skill tree, you got 7 battlers. Right? Yep. You got 7 battlers, not even including the skill tree, but the equip menu, you got probably like 14 different slots or 20 different slots. I'm not even exaggerating. So the skill tree, you probably got 8 to 10 different, you know, skill menus, like different menus. You got some vertical and you got some horizontal as well. You're going to at least spend 5 minutes. At least 5 minutes trying to pick a new skill for your player, unless you dedicate in to this one particular build. So,
which you can't because you're a new player. You have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. So you're looking at 5 times 7. That's at least 35 minutes just messing with the skills. So. So you could definitely take the focus away from your player. Like, oh my god, what I'm gonna learn? Like, once I upload this video, you will hear me say a lot. I deal with it later. Because it was just too overwhelming.
Yeah, what I did too. Like, I opened the skill tree, I saw all these tabs. I was checking it out for a short while. Right? I was trying to get into it. And then I was like, oh man, I had 2, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 characters where I have to make all these choices. Like, that takes me an hour to even figure out. Like, every character can go into damage, can go into healing, can go into every fucking skill tree. And I don't know these characters. I just got them. I don't know if they have like specialized gear or not. I don't know anything about the game yet. So how am I supposed to pick skills for my characters I don't know anything about? And then I just alt-F4'd the game and tried again like an hour later, and I just didn't pick any skills because fuck that, man. It's too complicated. It's too overwhelming for me to just start out. Like, the game starts out super nicely. You got 3 characters. You get introduced to the story. You know your place in the world, kind of, right? And you just battle it out with the ships. And then you battle it out with the normal turn-based combat. That's all fine and dandy. And all of a sudden, now you got 8 characters and all these skill trees and all this equipment and whatnot. Like, that's too much. I just got here.
Yeah.
No, it's too much. So I didn't buy any gear. I didn't put any skill points into anything because it was just too much. I didn't want to spend an hour browsing menus and shop menus and gear menus and skill menus. I wanted to play the game. And then I got one shot by that other group, which is not surprising in hindsight because I didn't do anything, right? But like, introduce stuff slowly to me, like one thing at a time. Like, let me, when I have these 3 characters, make me prepare my gear. Like, make me go into a weapon shop and buy some gear, and don't let me progress unless I do. So I get introduced to the gear and how it works. But if you don't make me, I'm not gonna, because I'm 30 minutes into the game. I'm probably fine with the gear I started with. So I didn't check the shop because why would I? Right? I just started. I gotta be fine with what I have for now. So I just skipped ahead and go with the story. And when I was in this echo base, I just got annihilated and I couldn't go back anymore because it wouldn't let me leave either. So,
I know the battle. I know the battle you're talking about because
it's the second battle on that map.
I suffered the same fate multiple times. Like they have AOE attacks. The enemy did
those two robot things. They used like the electric thing, and then they have like little drones flying at everyone. And they used both of that before I could even move, and all my party was just dead before I had a turn. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
like that's like not even an hour into the game, and I'm already getting one shot before I get a turn. That's not right. It can't be right.
In all fairness, that's an optional fight. You don't have to. You don't have to fight them. Yeah, you could just.
How is it optional? Like the game told me to look for survivors.
Yeah, you could just go in the door. You could just go in the door and skip that fight.
Well, how am I supposed to know that?
I agree.
The game said look for survivors, so that's what I did, right?
Yeah.
There's also no quest log, so
you're right.
I don't know if I save the game and come back another day and don't remember what I was supposed to do. I'm probably never gonna play Starshift again because there's no quest log. Like, imagine playing this for 10 hours and then you come back a week later because you had to help your family move or whatever, and now you don't remember what you're supposed to do.
I think the game is only 10 hours.
I mean, it was an example. It doesn't matter.
So you'd have beat the game by now, or you're a bad gamer.
Maybe. But the point, that's besides the point, right? If you put down the game for any reason and you come back like a week later or a month later or whatever, and you don't remember, like what you gonna do? Just run around everywhere trying to figure out where to go? Nah, I'm not gonna do that.
And that could easily happen in RPG Maker games. Even if you haven't played it in 2 weeks or a week, you could easily get lost. You know,
it doesn't even have to be like a full-fledged quest log. That's not necessarily necessary.
Yeah,
it can just be like a current goal. Like if you don't have side quests, like some games actually don't have side quests because their main quest is actually good. So you just need a current goal thing, like a little window or whatever. You can just turn on and off. So I can just check where the fuck I'm supposed to go, or a hint or whatever, like something that reminds the player of what to do.
Yep, I agree.
And that's it.
I agree.
Absolutely, should be in every game, like no cap.
Cause you got he has a very informative game, like the lore, the story writing. This game could easily be turned to a book.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the story part. Like, I'm not big on the story, but I did read the dialogue because it was interesting enough, right? So there was these characters, and there's this big universe, and there's like pretty much war going on. So it's interesting enough for me to read it. And then I also like the combat, actually, like the looks of it, right? I like the action sequences that's going on, like the little animations with the shots and whatnot, and when they teleporting forward to slash with the swords and whatnot. That's all cool.
Yeah.
And then you got this huge as fucking skill tree that made me quit
this fight Harlequin right here. This fight right here.
Yeah, that's that fight right there. Exactly. Like these two androids, man, they just spamming their AoEs before I could even move. Like,
oh god.
And then one guy survived, so I'm using my revival dust epinephrine fucking thing, and they all half-life, so they do the AoE again, and everybody dead again. They're like, okay, all that for it is then. It's like, why?
Oops, I messed up, guys.
I like the looks of the combat.
I was actually on YouTube, and I sped the footage up to the end, so it might reset on y'all. Y'all just now. I had to reset it back. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
See, and that's where I would have wanted a tutorial, because I was in Discord, right, telling Psychronic, man, this fight is one-shotting me before I can even move. And he's like, yeah, you can tip the scales with the gear and with like status effects and whatnot, but I don't know about any of that. I don't know status effects. I don't know what the skills do and whatnot. It's not explained.
Your hour in the game. Your hour in the game, and we don't even really know what most of these icons and these states do.
Exactly, like there's a bunch of icons and a bunch of short text and whatnot, but I only have like one skill or two skills with each character. So since I have 20 enemies on the screen, I'm just using the biggest AoEs I got. Right? That's the logical thing to do. I don't know about no status effects and zapping and whatnot. I don't know. It's not explained, so I'm not using it. That's where you need a tutorial. I don't think you need a tutorial to how to place your units. I think a player can figure that out on their own. But when it comes to like stuff I need to know in order to like succeed at the game, like androids have like this specific weakness and this race has like this specific weakness or whatnot, then the game needs to tell me that or hint at it in some way so I can figure out, all right, if I use this on that works. But I didn't even have the time because I was just dead before I could even do anything. Of course, I'm not blind. I did see that the android has like resistance to whenever I use one or the other skill. I did see that, but at that moment I had no knowledge of what is what. I didn't know this attack is this element and this attack is that element. I didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
Because how could I? So I just spammed the biggest AoEs I got whenever I could, because there's many enemies on the screen and hitting many enemies at once is a good thing.
Yeah, some enemies are immune to certain elements as well, and there's no indication to like see what they're actually, you know, what type of element they are. They're not doing the skills or the abilities that would say they are this element.
Exactly. Like I can figure it out with an android that's a machine. It's probably maybe weak to lightning, I guess, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But what's a human weak to? Like maybe fire, but maybe not. It's also a sci-fi game. Maybe they have fire resistance armor. I don't fucking know. I don't know this game. I just got here. I just started. So that's where you need hints and tutorials. I don't think you need it for like how to place your units and how to push the attack button. I don't think you need that. But for strategic elements in a game where you got 8 characters at the start of the game and you're supposed to be smart about it because everything hits hard, I think that's where you need the hints and the tutorials. That's where you need it.
See, like he also said, humans are weak to kinetic as well.
Exactly. The fuck is kinetic anyway? Right? How am I supposed to know what kinetic means in your game?
100.
Could be anything, right? So I don't know.
Right? You right.
Yeah, it's like I hate tutorials as much as the next guy, but something, I'm not saying put a dialogue box there and give it to me all in text, but you can keep it simpler. Like you can do it all in the starting moments of the game where you only have 3 characters. You can do it all there before you just throw 7 other characters at me and all of a sudden I'm supposed to know how to play the game. That doesn't quite work for me. Like that's these 2 things, like the inconsistency with the art style and the lack of any kind of tutorial or hint or how to play, killed the game for me. I would have refunded the game at that fight where I got one shot at the latest. No, that's where I would have refunded it.
You would
maybe even earlier. Maybe when I saw the skill tree for the first time with no explanation.
You would have refunded the skill tree, bro?
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Man, I stopped playing Path of Exile 8 times before I got into it. I uninstalled it 8 times whenever I saw the skill tree because it's just too much. And it's the same in this game. Like, you open the thing and you got a whole bunch of fucking skill trees with no explanation and no nothing, meaning I have to spend at least 30 minutes in that fucking menu to properly learn and read all the skills for 7 characters, and I'm not gonna do that. That's just not how it works. Especially not within the first hour of the game. I just got it. I'm excited. I want to play the fucking game. I don't want to go menu diving.
But if you had the tutorial, you wouldn't have to go menu diving all it.
Exactly. If you.
But you the one that say, "Oh, I don't need a tutorial. I don't need one."
Yeah, it doesn't need a big tutorial. You can put it as a gameplay element.
But
right?
what he can do,
you can just explain little things like just a message where it just says every character can learn every skill. Like there's no affinities, for example. That would have been enough for me to be like, all right, I can design or build my characters however the fuck I want. That would have been already fine, but I didn't know that. I was assuming maybe the android is better with like the tech skill than, let's say, the healing skill, for example. I don't know, right? I just started the game. I don't know. So if I had a message that's like, you can build your characters however the fuck you want, there's no gear specialization, everybody can wear everything and learn everything, that would have been fine, because now I know I have the freedom of choice. I can build my characters however I want. There's no better way to do it than the other way, right? Like, Mary isn't worse in the tech skill than Cracks, for example, because it's all the fucking same. If I knew that, that would have been different. It's just one line of text that would have made a difference here. But there isn't, so I wasn't sure what to do. I didn't know if I could ever reset these skills either. And I'm not gonna play like half the game and then realize I can never reset it and then start over. I'm not gonna do that.
You might be able to reset the skills later on.
Might be, but you don't know. So what do? You have a big ass skill tree and a million fucking choices, and you don't know if you can reset it if you make a mistake.
You do. All right. The developer said that it will all go wrong if you build your characters the same. So,
yeah, but I didn't know that, right? So I was assuming maybe Jack has, for example, like equipment that's better for the healing skill tree. I don't know, because I just started the game and there was no explanation about any kind of equipment, right? So I couldn't know.
All right, so here's another thing about what I seen, that there, even in the skill menu under offensive, there's upgrades. Well, there's a skill tree for your weapons, right? Me personally, I like to play my games. I like power. I like, having a lot of attack powers.
Mm-hmm.
So your characters come pre-equipped with like the weapons, like swords and guns, and maybe fist cuffs, fisty cuffs, whatever. So you upgrade just your weapon in the skill tree, but you get a better weapon. Then you equip that weapon that's way stronger than the weapon that you actually spend skills on. So why not just limit who can use what based on their rank or their class? That way you won't run into that problem, because now I wasted all this knowledge points on the inferior weapon, and now all my characters got the same weapon. Like, it's no point to using anything else.
Yeah, there's just a lot of uncertainty there. Like, you also don't know the scaling. Like, you gotta. There's a taunt skill, for example, but I don't know who should learn that. Who has the highest HP? Who gets the best like defense later on? I don't know how each character scales. I just got them all. So do I just learn it with the character that currently has the most health, but maybe another character has a better scaling later on? I don't fucking know. So how am I supposed to make a choice, especially if I never get the chance to reset my skills? Like, how do you make a skill system that vast without a reset button? Like, what the fuck? That's just the basic gameplay design. Come on, dude. Like skill reset is a must-have in any fucking game that has a skill system, in my opinion. Unless it doesn't matter and I can just learn everything anyway, then it doesn't matter. But if you make a game with that much of a customizability and your player is supposed to make a build not for one but for 18 different characters, you need a reset button. I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't know.
I mean, there might be.
No, you just said there isn't.
You may want to rearrange your party. You know,
Yeah.
and
That's another thing. I don't know if I keep all these characters. Like, why would I equip this character? I don't know if I get to keep it. Maybe he dies halfway through the game, and then I wasted all this money on this gear. Now I don't even have the character anymore. That's all these things we don't know. We cannot possibly make a informed decision on these skills or the gear, so we don't know anything. So how am I supposed to skill my characters if I don't know Jack?
okay.
And that's why I just stopped the game then, because it was it's not good.
And another thing, I think we need to have confirmation before we learn the skill, because I accidentally hit the button on the skill and he automatically learned it. I'm like, oh no, that's not what I want. I was like, oh my god, but it was too late. It was too late to stop. You know what I mean? Like, from my last save point, I was way too far ahead to like reset
I don't think
the
it
game.
needs one, to be honest. Like, how do you accidentally hit a button?
Nah, because most
I don't know, man.
Most games that before you learn it gives you confirmed, like, would you like to learn this skill? Soon as you tap the button, he automatically learn it. Automatically.
Yeah. I thought it was fine, but I see you there. Like, the thing is, when I first looked at the skill tree, I had 6k points with every character. So imagine me having to confirm every choice every time. Like, that would have been 15 different fucking choices I had to make. Like, confirm. Like, that's annoying as fuck.
But the way that the game is designed, you're not going to be learning a whole bunch of skills at one time. You may learn 3, unless you get
maybe.
Unless
I don't
you
know.
get the $1,000 one, the 1,000 knowledge points. But a lot of them is like 5,000 knowledge skill points or better.
Yeah, it could be better later in the game. Maybe everything's more expensive then, and you don't get as many points. But I just started the game. Like, I played like to the camp. Like, I didn't even finish this base, right? I just got into the bunker, and that's where I quit then. And I already had 6-7k points on every character. So I don't know how it's later in the game. Maybe it slows down. But in the beginning, if you level up fast and you had to confirm every skill, that would have been annoying. I mean, we're already spending an hour in the menu to equip and skill everyone. And now you also gotta confirm all these skills. That's like another hour. I don't know.
Thanks, Iron Brew. Appreciate you. Have
Could be a possibility.
Yeah.
So in general, like, I would have appreciated if I could stick with the 3 characters a little more, and if I got introduced into the whole skill and equipment systems a little better instead of nothing. But other than that, I think the game would have been fine. I don't need much of a tutorial either, like, just little, alright, this is how that works, and I can figure the rest out on my own. Like I said, if I had a message that said every character works with every skill tree the same way, and every character can equip any weapon, I would have been like, fine, because now I can just make Jack a healer because I want him to be a healer for some reason, right? And it would have been fine, but I didn't know that because maybe another character is a better healer. I couldn't know, I just started the game, it wasn't explained. So if we had that, I think the game would have been fine aside from like the artistic inconsistencies.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, I like the lore. Like, it felt solid to me. I like the storytelling. Like, there's a little like cutscene for everything, which I found cool.
Yeah, I think for a game for one person project and the amount of details, I think it looks pretty good. But I can see where some people may have like questions like why this guy looks like he's on the PlayStation, why this guy look like he belongs on the Nintendo, why this guy
Yeah,
looks like he belongs on Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, like the sprite.
yeah,
You
yep.
know, I could understand that. That makes sense. Like that one game we played. You said somebody said every character got the same chin or the same forehead, but they look like one big family. I forgot what game it was, but I
I
think it
mean,
was
trials of
I think it was
not the
Renault's game that yeah, but everybody did look like they were brothers and sisters, no cap.
yeah.
But
I mean, that's mostly how anime works, though. Like they all have the same face. It's just how it works. So I wouldn't mind that too much. But at least the art style is consistent, like right? They have like different eyes and different hairstyles. That's how anime usually works. Almost all characters in anime has all the same face shape,
mhm.
almost all the time. That's just how it is. I can live with that. But what bugs me is when one character looks VXAs and the other character looks like a semi-realistic frog person.
Mhm.
That's where it bugs me. If they all have the same chin, then oh my god, then it'd be like that. But have it be the same art style, right? That's what bugs me. And I have one minor nitpick too with the first battle. Like I'm pretty sure the game has more of these strategy type battles, and the camera in that battle is really weird. Like it jumps so quickly from place to place, right? It snaps, bam, bam, bam. And what I think would have been better is just show the entire battle area. Don't move the camera around. That's janky as fucking gives me a headache. Right? Just show me the battlefield and don't move the camera. It doesn't need to move.
Goodness.
That's one thing. And what was the other thing? There was one other. Ah, fuck! I forgot. Is the camera in
Get
the
your thought together.
the camera in the strategic battle? Yes, and it was one other thing. Oh man. Um. Fuck. Yeah, I don't remember.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, but I don't know right now. I know I had one other issue. It was also like a camera thing, but I don't remember which one it was.
Mm.
So maybe you got something to say? I don't know.
Well, overall,
Oh, I got it.
okay.
Yeah, it's also a camera thing. Like the transitions in this game are super bad. Like, not even gonna lie. Like whenever there's a screen transition or you leave an area, it's just bam, bam. Everything is just snap, snap. Like there's no smooth transitions to anything. It's just bam. There's the screen. Bam. There's the next screen. Like nothing has like a fade or anything, and it just looks super jarring to me.
And if he didn't have that, y'all be saying, man, it takes forever to load, man. Come on.
I mean, you can just do a fade in instead. Like it doesn't need to snap like
Y'all
that.
ain't never satisfied with people projects. Y'all gonna find
Of
something
course
to
not.
nitpick on.
I mean, as I said, those are two nitpicks. Like you can live with that, but I find it like distracting. Like when it's so, like, you have all these cutscenes, right? You put so much effort into these scenes and how they're set up, and you have all these followers moving around and moving behind you and assembling like the fucking Power Rangers and whatnot. And then your screen transitions are just bam, 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 boring, bam, bam, snap. Like, huh? I don't know, man. Like, in some places, there's so much attention to detail. In other places, there's just, like, this is just how RPG Maker does it, right? I don't know, man. It's just so split.
What about the nuclear mushroom cloud when it goes off? Have you noticed that in the game?
The nuclear, there was one skill that had it, I think. I don't know. It looked weird.
Like on the map itself.
No, as I said, I only reached the bunker in like base whatever majig it was.
I like, you can tell some parts of the game, like especially animation, it looked like what they used back in the days, like in the older movies, CGI.
The CGI?
Yeah, it kind of looks CGI-ish compared to like
everything,
1080.
every custom thing in this game looks like that. Like all the spaceships and whatnot, they all look like that. All look like Night Marina first version.
Like when the Terminator was chasing you, like in the first Terminator movie, you could tell it's like a fake robot chasing after real people.
But that's how everything looks. Like all the custom assets, the buildings and the spaceship, and
I mean,
they
the
all
buildings
look like
don't
that.
look. It don't look too bad. I mean, look.
Man, they all look like Night Marina, right? The semi like kind of 3D rendered thingies.
The old school Night Marina, not the new one.
Yeah, that's exactly how Starshift looks. Like with all the custom ships and whatnot. To be honest, I think I would have appreciated more if he just got rid of all the fucking pixel art shit and just made it all look like that. That would have been fine. Like all this weird looking stuff, right? All these weird buildings, all these weird ships. Like if the entire game looked like that and you had the same art style for the character sprites instead of the fucking pixel art shit, I think that would have been better, because now we got like this really odd looking sci-fi stuff instead of this weird mix of pixel art and AI and semi 3D renders and whatnot. I don't know, man. I think I would have liked it more than. But like, it's this mamma jamma. Like, look at the screen right now. This fox wolf guy looks like a comic face, and he has a pixel art sprite. But everything else, like the consoles, they look completely different in style. It's like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't fit. I don't know.
Y'all guys agree with Harlequin, or you think he's like just reaching right now? I mean, everybody's opinion is their opinion. You know, he has some facts. Like if you look at it, you could definitely tell the different art style, like it belongs to this game or it should belong in that game. You know, I mean, he has some points, but I think the sprites looks fine, but like when you look at the portraits, you know,
the sprites don't match the portraits,
and I think
the tiles don't match the buildings. It's like this. Starshift looks really, really good at a glance. But if you look any closer, if you go like one step closer, you see all the little jank that's in there, and that really bugs me because it doesn't technically need to be there.
What about, if I'm not mistaken, did he use low sprite as well, like the kid sprite? I'm not sure. I could have sworn.
I don't know. I didn't pay enough attention to that, but I don't think I saw one.
It looked like one of the kid sprites.
I saw RTP cat.
I may be mistaken. Only the developer knows what assets they have. But
yeah, I don't think so. Like, but yeah, as I said, like if these things were fixed, like especially like the inconsistency with the art styles, I think this could have been from the rest of it. Like if you had a tutorial and the art styles fixed, I think this could have been like a $20 game. Like because the world building and stuff is really solid, but the look of it and the introduction for the player are just really not good.
Yeah,
but if it was like seems solid
for $7.99, I think you're gonna get your money worth. For
$7.99,
$20 is stretching it a bit.
No, if these things were fixed, if we had like a better introduction to like the game and the mechanics of the game, and the art style was coherent and not this weird mix of everything, sure, why not? Like, I don't know how long the game is. Maybe if it's only 10 hours, then maybe just 15, but I don't know, man.
$20 too much for me for 10 hours. I need at least for 20
Yeah,
bucks.
yeah.
I need
for
at
20
least
bucks,
30 at least.
Yeah, I would say so too, but I don't know how long Rebellion is, so I don't know.
But this could ease. The developer told me at least 10 hours. But
yeah. Right now, I don't think it's overpriced, but it's only gonna be bought by people that don't care much about the looks of it. I think. Like, there's not many sci-fi game indies out there, so that's a plus for Starshift. And if the player doesn't really care much about how the game looks in general, then you probably get a sale. But if you got someone like me who gives a shit about presentation and how everything looks together, then it's not gonna be a sale. But I don't think it's overpriced generally. Like, I think $7 is fine.
And what's so unique about what you just said about that? I think there was a review where the person did mention, the looks of the game wasn't his cup of tea, and the way that the game played, he felt like it shouldn't have some of the issues you were speaking about.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't recommend the game as of right now, but he would like to delve more further into it because it has a solid story.
Yep.
So
as I always say, a game is always a package of everything. And the better each part of the package is, the better the final product is. So you got the story right and the world building right? The atmosphere seems fine too. Like the writing is also good, but the wrapping is pretty bad. Right? So you got a nice gift, but you wrapped it in toilet paper. So it's still a good gift, but it doesn't look good, right? So if you got someone who doesn't really care about the wrapper and just cares about what's inside, then you got a good game for $7, right? You get your money's worth. But if you have someone that cares about the packaging and the wrapper, they're not gonna buy it because it doesn't look that good. Which is someone like me, for example. I could play this game if it was stick figures, as long as everything else is also a stick figure. But you can't put a stick figure next to a semi-realistic frog. That doesn't work for me, right?
So the art style is keeping you from being invested in this game because it's like your pet peeve.
Yeah, for me, a game needs to look good. Because I want to be immersed in it, not only by the text I'm reading, but also by the looks.
Alright, so to my understanding, Starshift is the next one is going to be the bigger game, which is, I believe, is you can play it now. Or not Origins, Legacy. Then there's Freelancers. There's a freelancers version. I think that's already been in development. If I'm not mistaken, I think the story to that is finished. But the development, like game-wise, I'm not sure. But
I mean, Freelancer was done by somebody else, right? Isn't that finished?
That's Jolt Eagle. Jolt Eagle. I don't think that's out, but I think the game is
Oh. Man, I don't know, man. That's all too complicated.
I'm not sure it's going to use the same sprites or the characters, but I mean, I see what you mean, but I see where the developer is going at too. Keywords: photo, shop.
Yeah, I mean that's what many people do.
Photoshop, shop. You take pre-render assets or sprites and you edit them in Photoshop to give them a unique look.
Yeah. That's what most RPG Maker developers do.
Yeah, we're not
They
artists.
all grabbing the free assets from the forum and whatnot, and putting them all together, regardless of how good or bad they look together, because they're completely different art styles. And why? Because they don't want to spend no money, or I don't fucking know why they do it. I think it's bad. Like, it doesn't need to be like that. It doesn't need to look weird.
Very expensive though.
It doesn't have to. I mean, there's so much free shit on the forum, right? That looks exactly like RTP because that's what most people ask for, and that's consistent. If you want to do this weird looking, I don't know, maybe AI, maybe not AI generated, that's fine. You can do that, but do it for everything and not just something. If you put AI faces in your game, make everything an AI face, whatever. Just make it look consistent. And don't, if you want like these weird, almost 3D rendered looking buildings, then make the characters almost 3D rendered characters. Just do it.
I got you. I mean,
like whatever style you're going for, just keep it consistent. Is all I'm saying. Like whatever style works, just keep it consistent with the rest of the game.
mm-hmm.
I don't like RTP either. I think no commercial game should ever use anything that resembles RTP, but that's just me. But it's generally better to have a consistent style than a mishmash of everything, because a mishmash of everything looks unprofessional. It's just how it is. Right? It looks like somebody was just going on the internet and grabbing every free asset they found. That's how it looks. And that's not good. It cheapens the game unnecessarily, because you can clearly edit your own assets. You have the buildings and the rubble and whatnot. You can clearly do it, so do it for the rest of the game. Do it for the characters, do it for the faces, do it for the tile set. Why not? So I understand this takes forever and probably years, so maybe do it for the next game or whatever.
Well, I mean, we can definitely say that Cychronic got the most patience in the world. You know, I've been following this guy going on about 3 years now. You know, he's pretty much been there in the beginning. You know, he pretty much, is a big contributor to the RPG Maker community. So every Saturday he live stream his game. Given the fact that this game is completed, he's doing like a watch party of the dev playing the game and finding stuff. So you could definitely say that he put a lot of hard work in, so
yeah, I'm totally not denying that. Like, you can see the effort put into this game. You can see it, but it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
Like, look at me. Like, the Origins demo, I've been at that for like 2 years now for the demo alone. Why? Because I want to keep the look consistent. So I gotta wait for all these art assets I'm spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on, because I want to keep it looking consistent. I don't want to put no pixel art icons in my game. I want to have the lowest art style icons, because I'm using big icons, right? Not these small 32 by 32 shit things. So I gotta wait for that. I gotta wait for money and whatnot.
You have no choice, because that art style can only be matched by, the art style is made by one unique person, and it'll look crazy.
It's the same in Starshift.
Yeah,
it's the same in Starshift. You got the pixel art sprites that look like, I don't know, maybe VXA's era or something, and then you got semi-realistic faces. That doesn't work. So you would need pixel art faces, and everything else should be pixel art then, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I want to go with one consistent style, and that's taking forever, but that's how it is. It's just how it works.
Yeah, so as you know, Cychronic been all around the world. He has worked with independent marketing companies, for his first game, Origins. He has the experience, and I believe he has the knowledge to make the the consistency of the character look, it just like Harlequin said, it may take some time, but at least you know your game would be more polished and people will appreciate, you know, the hard work and the art, you know. But as of now, I do appreciate, you know, the hard work you done. The game looks good, but I do agree with Harlequin. You know,
it's in a good enough state, as he said in the chat right now. It's in a good enough to release state.
Yeah.
But look at the screen right now. You got all these pixel art assets, and then you got this absolutely fucking realistic waving flag there. Like, come on, man, that doesn't look good. It stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't it?
Lord.
But yeah, it's in a good enough state. That's true. I mean, you could maybe have boosted sales if it looked better, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely playable, and it's not a waste of money.
I think the flag was
$7.
I think the flag was cute though. That was a cute little gesture.
It's a cool technique. Like, it looks good in a vacuum, but it doesn't fit.
Yeah, but it looks more of Nightmare Arena-ish.
Yeah, it's a realistic looking thing, and then you have a 3-frame water animation next to it. It's like, huh? It doesn't match.
Only Harlequin look at details like that. Only him. Nobody else.
I mean, as I said, man.
I mean, the average player ain't gonna really. I mean, I'm just being honest. The average player.
It's just you RPG maker devs who be like that.
Everybody
else looks at the looks of a game, man.
See, like
everybody does it.
At this screen right here, like when I'm picking like new and beginning, you can see like the red web in the beginning, like is actually changing pictures until I go back to like the previous thing that I clicked on. Yeah,
because it got to reload the image.
See right here,
a preloader can fix that.
Yeah.
So but I was impressed. Like, the title screen is cool, except for it's no transition again. Like it's just a bam starship. It's just there. It's not fading in the title
out,
screen.
Man, if that thing would have faded out and faded in, that would have been freaking dope.
Yeah, man, I was really impressed by the difficulty screen. I thought that was cool with all these creatures there and changing sides depending. I thought it was dope.
I want to have
and it's consistent there, right? You got all these pixel art sprites. The ships look a little weird because they seem more high resolution than the characters, right? Because the style is so different. But the selection screen was dope, man. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then you got this cutscene going, and that's where all these attention to detail is there. And in other places, just it's kind of weird. I don't know, man. But of course, like, we're all single developers here. Everything takes for fucking ever, whatever we do. So I can understand not doing it, and I can also understand already releasing the game. And I don't think it's overpriced or anything. It's just whatever we do is just giving hints at how to make it even better, or maybe use it in the next game. Who knows, right? We're just giving tips.
Exactly, and you know, I'm definitely gonna finish the game. I mean, the story is very interactive.
Yeah, I cannot. Like, I'm totally overwhelmed by the skill tree and everything else. Like, nah. I can't deal with it, man. I'm simple gaming, man. I can't deal with that kind of shit.
He wanted the simple. He want the simple life. He want the simple.
Yeah, man. You know, have you played Path of Exile?
I started, and I know what you're talking about. That skill tree is humongous.
Yeah, the only way I'm playing Path of Exile, I mean, Path of Exile is an amazing game, but I only played with a guide. Like, I'm downloading a build guide, and I'm playing strictly after that. I have no fucking idea what the skill tree even does. I never read it because it's just too overwhelming. But there is no build tree or build guide for Starshift, so I'm not gonna play it.
Maybe
it's too much for me, man. I need a simple introduction. Like, give it to me slowly and with a lot of loop, then maybe I can do it, but not all at once.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. So you agree with the price, $7.99? It's on.
Yeah, I think it's a fine price.
And it's 25% off right now, guys. And they do have a RPG Maker sale going on Steam. So I mean, if you want to take advantage of getting, I believe a lot of these stuff is like 60% off.
Buy Tiki's Escape is 50% off.
Yeah, so definitely take advantage. And if you want to support other developers that the podcast has already streamed, definitely, look at our past videos and, download the game or buy it if you want to support it. So, Cychronic, keep up the good work, my guy. Keep up the hard work, keep grinding. If the numbers don't look right to you, it shouldn't matter. You could definitely tell like you're in this for the passion of just game making. You even said it yourself numerous times. If I don't make no money off of it, I just love game making. I like telling my story. That's the words of Cychronic. So definitely keep grinding.
That's how the game looks like too.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly how it looks like. I think it could be better, like especially for commercial, but it's more or less still just a passion project and doesn't really need to be a success. So that's fine too. And that's why I think it's not overpriced. Like $7, yeah, I can see getting the money's worth out of that if you enjoy like the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. And unfortunately, guys, there's no wheel spin this week because this was the wheels game. So D7 is picking the game.
I mean, if you're up for it, we can just spin the wheel again. Like we have so many games on there that have been waiting forever.
Look. Let me do this. I already got a game.
You already got a game? What do you mean? No, we're not playing Starscribed.
No, we're not playing Starscribe. I already got a game.
Is it even your turn?
It's my turn. Yes.
I feel like
it's my turn.
You canceled the podcast for 20 weeks. I feel like you should sit out and have no turn for like.
It's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. So.
Well, I'm just saying, man. We have so many.
But
games
it is a
there.
game. It is a game that's on the wheel, though.
Okay.
In all fairness, because D7 is a fair guy.
D7 playing favorites again, picking games off the wheel and whatnot.
Fair. Sometimes you gotta make little wheels and deals. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do.
It's fine, man. It's fine. I did it before too.
You gotta be like Bernie Madoff with the money. They say, man, he took my money and dip.
Yeah, man. D7 taking the payments and paying favorites here, and I'm not getting paid for anything.
You're getting paid. You're getting paid, my guy. You're getting paid.
I'm not getting paid anything for playing these knock games. What you mean?
Well, you had a little Twitch money, but who decided not to stream anymore? This guy.
I ain't got no time for streaming anymore, especially since I'm working late shifts. Like I don't. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, man, because the last time I was like. He was like, it's supposed to have been a podcast, but it was canceled for that day. And it's 4:00, and he's saying, I'm off work. I said, how the heck you off work? How you supposed to do the podcast? So it's 10:00. I think it was 10:00 your time.
Yeah. I told him, like, they asked us how we want to work, and I told him, like, always late shift because I'm nocturnal anyway. Except for Wednesday, that's where they give me like 3 hours earlier so I can make the podcast time.
So y'all a 24-hour company, or y'all?
No, the project I'm working is like until 10 p.m. my time.
Oh, okay.
And that's how, so podcast is usually 8 to 10 p.m. for my time. So I told them I gotta stop working at 7 p.m. so I can make the podcast time and maybe eat something and whatnot. So that's what they do.
You hear this, guys? The guy is getting rid of real money.
No, I'm just working earlier.
He's getting
I'm
rescheduling
my work.
Let me say, he's getting rid of real money to bring you guys entertainment. So. If you either see one of us streaming and you would like to leave a gift because we take our time to bring you guys entertainment, don't be scared. Show us some love.
Don't be scared. Give us the money.
Show us some love. Showing us some love will probably cost you less than a Bitmac or a cigarillo, whatever you call them things. You know, show us some love for playing these knock-knock games, because don't you know, whenever we play a knock-knock game, it takes a couple months off our life expectancy. Like, literally, it does. So
Man, you gotta be immortal then.
we're giving our life for you guys. We're sacrificing our health and our mental state for you guys. So keep that in mind. But great job, Cychronic. Great freaking job. Thank you everybody for showing up. It is Valentine's Day. I have to be a husband, you know, and take the wife and kids out for dinner for Valentine's. So those who celebrate, I hope that you have a safe Valentine's with your loved ones, and you know, just keep doing great, keep designing games and all that good stuff. And next week, I guess I'll tell you guys now, I will be coming with Kingdom of Nyber. Kingdom of Nyber is our next game we're gonna be streaming on the podcast. So
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, the developer, I don't know if he has a updated version, but you know, if he shared it with me, I definitely would share it with you. But it is a commercial game that's in development as well, so this is going to be a good one. And knowing what Harlequin thinks about the game is always a pleasure, because I'm like, oh Lord, what he gonna say about Cychronic's game? Cause he's the one, man, I don't like space games. I can't get into it.
I'm not trying to judge it based on the genre. The story was good enough for me to read the dialogue, so that's a plus.
You know how these Germans guys be. These Germans crazy, man. I keep telling you, these Germans guys are crazy. Nor did Destiny stop trying to get us to play your game. You want us to play your game? Get the podcast to play your game, my guy.
Yep, and don't forget to send over the monies first.
You need the money. We need $1,000. Then you gotta get $1 million life insurance policy in case one of us dies while playing your game, because it's so horrible. Then we're squared away. That's a deal. All right, guys. Until next week. I don't really have anything else to say. My codes need anything he want to say? If not, we are out of here.
No, I'm pretty good. I think we covered everything that was coverable.
Yeah, we covered everything. We don't. It's nothing else to cover. And
oh no, we didn't.
What we didn't do this time? What?
Yeah. The music in this game is fucking jank, man. Nothing loops properly. What the heck are you doing with your music in your game, man?
I think the music was fine.
Yeah, the music was fine, except for the combat music that only lasts like 30 seconds and didn't loop properly.
Oh, you don't like the
there's a bunch of tracks in there that they sound fine, but they don't loop properly. You can hear it snap back to the beginning, and like that's not cool.
Look, leave my boy Cychronic music alone. His music is fine, man. His music.
No, but when the music doesn't loop properly, it's not fine, man. You can fix that.
What game I played where the music is?
Where the music just stopped midway. That was oh my god. It
stops 5 seconds, and then that's it. Like, yeah, bro.
I mean that's the thing though. Like the music is good, and then every time the track ends and jumps back to the beginning, it's like this little hit in the nutsack, right? Like you jamming out, and then there's this break in the track, like.
Yeah, that's how that's how. Yeah, but I like the music. Nothing's wrong with the music. I don't care.
Yeah, the music sounds fine. It's just the looping that doesn't really.
I don't care what Harlequin say. Harlequin always nitpick about the good stuff. He could win $1 million and say, man, ain't enough money.
And if I win $1 million, I'm gonna complain about all the millions of taxes I gotta pay.
That's why you don't tell them, man. You don't tell them.
You don't tell them.
You hit $1 million in Germany. You come to America and just leave Germany. You don't gotta worry about taxes.
Yeah, and pay even more taxes over there. Sure.
Yeah, you
I'm
definitely
never
gonna pay.
gonna come to America, my guy. Never gonna go
You
there.
definitely gonna pay taxes over here. I ain't gonna lie on that. They may give you a break for the first couple years you here, but after that, you done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there ever. Ever.
Never say never.
Nah.
Never say
Never ever. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the music, as I said, except for the looping, that doesn't seem to work properly, and you can fix it. You can just move the loop points, really. Oh yeah, I think I got everything now.
All right, Cyclonic, tighten up on your music, man. Tighten up on your music. Do not come to America. D7 just want to know where you so you can give him some money. I'm not money generated. You know what I mean? I just feel like, you know, I will be blessed regardless, you know, and you guys be blessing me.
He just want me to come over and bring him some German chocolate cake, and
yes,
I'm not gonna do
yes,
that.
sir.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yes, I need some German chocolate cake, guys.
No, and you even got your relatives over now. I'm not trying to meet all the D7 family now, man. I don't.
This the same guy that said that it feels like I'm living in the cave. The way my mic used to sound in the beginning, he said, "Oh man, this guy sound like he lives in the cave." Like,
Yeah, but
really,
that's
bro?
when you played like with your family the
Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite.
Uh-huh.
You were so far away from the microphone, it was echoing and everything. Oh my god, what's the guy doing?
Yeah, man. I need to yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't know. We already priced the game, right? We priced it.
Yeah, you just asked me if I agree with the $7.
Yeah.
You didn't really say anything, so I assume you're okay with that too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the $7 is okay. I mean, I probably up it up to $9.99, you know, because I'm actually invested in the story. The story is really good. The game, like the battles, pretty good. Some of the gameplay is pretty good. Like the part with the casino, you got a lot of mini games, you know, and there's two different paths you could take. You know, you got a really high bounty, and there's several ways you could pay off the bounty. I'm not gonna really give the spoilers.
It's all cool. Like I was hyped for that because already since the game started out with the strategy battle, I was already assuming there's like different kind of battle systems and probably some mini games and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I never got there. I never got to the good part because you overwhelmed me with that other shit. So yeah, I never got there. So that's what it is. We already covered that, so let's get the fuck out of here already.
Yeah. Kingdom of Nibert next week. Look out for the descriptions, you know, the links and stuff, and also you know
check the announcement for the cancel notification.
Yeah, pretty sure they're gonna cancel. Harley gonna be like, man, I gotta work this week, man. And tell your friends about the RTP podcast. You know, we are definitely a thing. They don't really have to join the podcast and stuff. We would like for them to join, but you know, a follow just to bring up the numbers and show the support is definitely enough. I guess with this note, we are gone this time, guys. Definitely appreciate y'all. See you later. Y'all stay blessed. Peace out.